Hey guys, I'm here with Bryan Weber, and we've been having some really good conversations while we're having lunch. And just wanted him to share with you guys, we're both dads. We've recently had baby boys recently. And the topic today is how do you stay intimately connected in the midst of many responsibilities, in the midst of just doing so much? How do you stay intimately connected with God? So Brian, if you could just share, what do you do? I'm gonna zoom in here. Hold on a second. Sorry. There we go.
I think intimacy looks a lot different from season to season, and I think there's a wide array of intimacy. There's the intimacy that you feel almost happening to you. When you feel like his heart and his eyes and his fire is just, like pouring into you, almost like, like in Star Wars or Star Trek when the telebeam is just like sucking you in, And there's nothing you can do about it. It's just happening. And it's sucking you into the heart of the Father. Yeah. But then there's also the intimacy of kind of like what we were talking about earlier, where it is a spiritual discipline, and you might not be feeling him, but at the same time, he's there. And sometimes even it's just purely mentally knowing, and believing that he's there, whether from prior experience or just faith, But sometimes it is the spiritual knowing. And I think like some of the practical things that I've found, we were even just talking about what does it look like when, you're in the thick of the battle, and you might be screwing up every single second. You're doing the absolutely wrong thing, and how it can be either really easy or really hard to pursue the Father at that point, because you either feel super ashamed and like you're not worthy to see him or for him to see you, and so you hide yourself just like in the garden, or you just pour yourself completely into him because he's the only thing that's going to save you from not just this thing that you keep doing, but yourself, like your own way you approach yourself or your family or the world. So there's spectrums on all of this. But
for sure.
Let's say everything's going well, right? Like some of the things I do, because it's so easy to get complacent with, God and I are good, And when you have that, like God and I are good, it's true and it's good. It's a good place to be, but there can become that complacency of, well, I kind of just stop pursuing him. Because we're so good. And if that goes, whether it's an hour or a day or a week, month, sometimes years for a lot of people, where you don't have that spiritual encounter that you once burned with. Like, how did I get here? Some of the things that I like to do that seem to help anyway are I'll set an alarm clock on my phone 3 or 4 times a day, and it says stretch, pray, and center on God. And
stretch, pray, center on God. That's so good, man.
And very transparently,
so you stretch.
Yeah, like just physically stretch it out. Because I guess I've never even processed it this way, but a lot of times we get so stuck in what's right in front of us, whether it's work or family or our to-do list, that we just get set in it and we just get tighter and tighter and tighter physically. But at the same time, we're usually getting tighter and tighter and tighter spiritually, because we're not connecting with God, just like we're not connecting with ourselves or those around us. We're just set on something. I admittedly, sometimes I'll snooze it. Sometimes I'll even stop it and just I'll do the next one, Especially at work, like if I'm programming something, I'm just like, it's flowing. And really that's the perfect time to press into God to keep the flow going. But There are times I feel like I have to be honest where I just say, well, I'll hit the next one, you know, and God doesn't deserve that, and I don't deserve that.
Yeah.
But that's one of the practical things that I do, and I find that when I'm consistent with that, and I actually make that a value of mine to hit every one, I do connect with Him more.
Yeah.
Super easy ones, you know, like turn on Spotify, turn on a worship album radio, you know, and just let it flow.
That's good.
And just some of it might be background noise as you're working, but then that song will come on, you know, and you're like, oh God, like,
there
and you
is.
just stop and you sit, you know, and you recenter on Him again. And
that's so good, bro.
What a difference that can make. And
That's
then there's
good.
like little things where it just kind of happens to you, like you're staring at your son, you know, and you're staring in his eyes and like, oh my gosh, God made you, you know, like this is a real human being right here, with emotions and a spirit and a future, and like how do I foster that? And so there's that need again where you go to the Father, like how can I be parenting well right now, through all the exploding diapers and through all the temper tantrums, you know, for your toddler. Like how do I parent well? How do I love well while also leading well? And and I think if you can invite God into that place of partnership, not only does it make all that easier, but it's also connection right there, you know?
Yeah, that's good, man.
And of course, just worship, like whether it's at church or whenever, you know, just pressing in.
Yeah, that's good, man. Something that I really love is your diligence. You're very diligent in your pursuit of the Lord, and I feel like there's this thing that I teach where I say, if your discipline is not leading into delight, then
That's cool. I like that.
The enemy is hiding in your diligence and in your discipline, and is taking into religion. Yeah. But if it's leading to delight, then your discipline and your diligence will suddenly kind of like become covered and overwhelmed by delight. Yeah. And now you go by way of appetite, and not by way of, you know, you need to. So for instance, if your alarm clock, let's say, is like at 3, 6, and 9, let's say, whatever, 3 o'clock will hit just like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you'll already feel like, man, I just, you know, you just want to be with Him. Yeah. Your alarm didn't even ring yet, let's say, and you're cultivating like a spiritual demand because you're just so diligent. Yeah. Your appetite. Yeah. You know, something that I do is
and you know, sorry to cut you off, but you know, like what I just thought of. So babies, right? Like when you're breastfeeding, right? Like you guys get on the same schedule, and the mother's body knows. Yes. It knows it's time to feed. It's ready. And so I feel like it's both sides, and there's truth to the fact that God's always pouring Himself out. He's always present. He's always pouring Himself. But at the same time, He also honors pursuit. He also honors our hunger. And, you know, like when, not that intimacy is a scheduled thing necessarily, but like when you create that consistency. Yeah. It's intentional. You know, like it's like He's like right there, ready. He's like, He's got the wine. He's ready to go. Yes. And He knows that I'm about to come through that door and open my mouth. You know? Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. Just how He even shows us that in our own kids, you know, like the truths of the kingdom. Yeah. Something else too is what we were talking about that we see in babies. It's full dependency in your day. And if we're dependent on the Lord in our day, then literally everything we do will long for His input in everything that we do. Water. Versus just running off with the Lord. And obviously it's something that you have to diligently go after. You know, the Bible says, I am a rewarder of those who diligently seek me. So His reward is His presence for a heart that diligently seeks Him. And when you seek Him with a humble heart, dependency, you will encounter it. And you never graduate from humility. That's His place. That's where His throne is established. And when you live there and you practice making your bed there, your home there, your place of rest, knowing that you're really nothing without Him,
you will always encounter the touch of God, the eternal, fresh touch, never dulling presence of God.
If you've been blessed by this channel, consider becoming a monthly supporter, as we call it, Patreon. With $1 or any amount a month, you can keep this channel going as we make disciples of all nations.